Welcome to episode 38 of Shane Talks. This week's episode is called The Horowitz Questionnaire, and we'll get to explaining that title here in a few minutes. I'm joined, as always, by Jason L. Mayer, and this week we have a very special guest. Very special guest that I owe some apologies to. We're gonna hash it all out here in the next couple of minutes. This is one of my oldest film friends that I've got. We go back well over 20 years. We probably liked each other for about half that time. Troy Myers, welcome to the podcast. Episode number 38.
Just to be fair, those probably weren't like a consecutive 10 years, right?
No, off and on for 10 years.
Yeah, I'm sure there were like a lot of minutes in between where we liked each other. And those probably add to a full decade. That's true.
Yeah. So I kind of owe you an apology that there's a little beef between us at the moment that we need to get worked out. So say what you want to say.
Oh, I wouldn't say there was beef. I mean, if there were beef, you'd end up dead. I mean, talk. You fucking with a real one. But actually, the problem is you're not fucking with a real one. And this is episode 38.
Mm-hmm.
And as your most engaging, intelligent, and conversational friend, I can't imagine why.
Wait. Let's also include most handsome too.
I mean,
no, easily.
The picture's worth 1,000 words, Mayor. They know. Like, it's good.
So I don't know why it's taken me so long to get you on here. And then more importantly, I hear that there's an episode from a long time ago that you're really upset with me that I didn't have you on.
Yeah.
What episode was that?
Your soundtrack episode?
Yeah. Episode 9. The soundtracks of 1999.
Yeah, because while I most likely know more about film than you do, I definitely know more about pop music than everybody you know.
Yeah.
Probably combined.
That would have been fun to have you on that one. And we'll find another soundtrack way to work you in so we can talk some good soundtracks.
We can just talk about the movie Go.
Oh,
we can
yes,
talk about
100%.
that soundtrack all day.
Oh, for sure.
An hour and a half of that.
Yeah.
I can go with an hour and a half of that.
Yeah, that was definitely on my list from the soundtracks of 99. Definitely an amazing soundtrack. First thing we usually talk about on this podcast is beer. This week we're drinking Taxman's Peach Mango Spinoff. And we're drinking Taxman now because our friend Troy works for Taxman. And what are you drinking tonight, Troy?
I'm drinking the Hop Audit Citra.
Nice.
And then at some point I will switch to a Gold Standard.
Oh, very, very tasty light beer from you guys.
And then just whatever else is spare and in my fridge.
Nice. So for about the past year, we've been getting beers from Sun King. I had a friend that worked for Sun King. He provided us with a lot of beers to talk about on this episode as kind of free promotional stuff for Sun King. He is no longer with Sun King now, so we've kind of lost that connection. So it's been decided that we're going to try to drink as much Taxman as we can when your beers allow it, so that we can give some love and promotion to your company. Because as a longtime friend of mine, I want to support you and the company you're working for now. So I know you've said in the future you're going to try to get us some stuff, but aside from that, we're going to try to find some Taxman stuff every week to drink. So looking forward to that relationship with Taxman for at least a little while.
Absolutely. Great people making good beer. Can't do better than that.
All right. The next topic we got to talk about is something that we don't ever talk about on the show, really. Jason and I talked about it earlier today. It was a pretty long conversation. We're not going to talk very long about it. I just got a question for you about your Liverpool affiliation and your thoughts on what they did these last 48 hours, joining the Super League and then leaving the Super League.
Oh, what's the Super League?
Oh, it's the league that lasted 2 days.
Like, the only thing I remember happening over the last 48 hours was we drew with Leeds. Was there other drama involved?
Oh, yeah, definitely other drama.
Oh, man, I must have slept right through it. No clue.
Okay. Did you happen to see John W. Henry's I've Let You Down video that he released this morning?
No, he's an American. He's been letting me down for years.
Well,
Don't tell anybody, but he owns the fucking Red Sox. What a fucking loser.
Can't complain.
I mean, he got us some too, baby. Like, I'm not.
Well, and I can't hate on Liverpool. Your coach is a German coach, Jurgen Klopp, who I absolutely love. He's in my top 2 football coaches in the world. So I don't have any hate towards
And
Liverpool.
he's not number 2, right?
What's that?
And he ain't number 2.
Well, see,
That's
like
how the kids do it on Twitter.
Hansi Flick has gotten us a lot of trophies in the last year too. So Jurgen Klopp's kind of behind him.
Yeah, those 6-0s against Augsburg, just real fucking nail biters.
All right, so we're not talking about My Amazing Club right now. I'm curious.
No, I love your Amazing Club. We could talk about Kingsley Coman all day.
Yeah, Kingsley Coman is great. His header last year against PSG was beautiful.
Yeah.
So anyway, has Liverpool lost any of your support because of the last 48 hours?
They would have lost my entire support had they chosen to go down the road they were presumably what people tell me they were trying to do. I don't know. But no, I mean, I'm sticking with them.
Right
like as long as James Milner's there, I've got to root hard.
Nice. All right. So one of the things we do usually after we talk about beer is we talk about what did you watch this week. Jason and I can sit this one out since you're our guest of honor. You got anything that you watched this week you want to talk about?
Yes.
Cool. Bring it on.
I want to give a shout out to a show on Netflix that has become like comfort food to me called Hip Hop Evolution.
Okay.
It is an oral history of rap music.
No, that sounds cool.
It is great. It is fantastic. There's an episode in season 2, I want to say, that it covers the UGK, in which you get to see Bun B cry over the passing of Pimp C, which is a really touching moment. Always brings me to tears. And then episode 3 of season 4, the story and the build up to T.I.'s Rubber Band Man is about as triumphant a scene as just about anything you'll see in any sports movie.
Okay.
It really gets the blood pumping, and it's a fitting tribute to one of possibly the greatest pop songs ever written.
Nice. I will have to add that to my queue and take a look at it.
Shout out David Banner.
What's the second one?
The second one is the Adam Curtis BBC 3 documentary, Can't Get You Out of My Head. It's available on YouTube for free. It is an 8-hour magnum opus. It is a stream of consciousness documentary that covers the history of the 20th century as told through the confluence of political struggle, financial power, and people's constant struggle to define themselves through the freedoms that they have in the world. Kind of begins to take a look at the surveillance state and kind of the world we live in now and how we got here.
Pretty deep.
It is pretty deep. It's a heady watch.
Is it one 8-hour video or is it like 8 1-hour parts?
It's broken up into 6 parts.
Okay.
That are all about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes, something like that.
Right on.
Yeah, YouTube it. It's fantastic. It's free. Power to the people.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
It might just be futile to break free from this this worldly constraint that we've made from ourselves.
Knowing you as long as I have, I'm not surprised that those are 2 very random documentary and not narrative films that you are engrossed in.
Narrative film's dead. It's all like fucking like guys who shoot laser beams out of their dicks and fucking like wear costumes, right?
All right, let's get to the title of this episode. The Horowitz Questionnaire. Back in May of 2009, all 3 of us were blogging because blogging was the big thing to do back in the day.
You don't blog anymore? I still do.
I don't really. Well, I mean, I kind of do. I've got my beer blog where I upload photos of every beer that I drink, but it's not like when we used to just blog and complain about movies and art and cinema and yell at each other and get pretty ruthless in our comments and stuff like that. But in 2009, in May, Troy put up a post, a blog, and he challenged his blogging friends to answer the same questions that he did. It was a list of 17 questions about movies and film, And at the time, I thought it was all Troy's idea. And I was like, Troy's a genius for coming up with all these awesome questions to ask people. I later found out that they were actually questions taken from a book called The Mind of the Modern Movie Maker by Josh Horowitz. He's a TV producer on PBS, CNBC, and Fox News. He also contributed to Entertainment Weekly, Us Weekly, and he's credited as contributing to MoviePoopShoot.com. Which, to my knowledge, started as a gag in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and apparently turned into a real website with movie-related stuff on it, because it's on his resume. But the book, Josh Horowitz sat down with 20 up-and-coming filmmakers of the 2000s and had conversations with them about, like, you know, the shift into digital technology and all kinds of other stuff. Amazing list of people. I'm surprised I never read this book. Kevin Smith, Muk G, Chris and Paul Wentz, Doug Liman, Michelle Gondry, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, Neil LaBute, Brett Ratner, Todd Phillips, Jon Favreau, Patty Jenkins. Those were all pretty huge people, that I like all their bodies of work. So
they're huge now. So being something that was written 20 years ago.
Yeah. The book came out in 2006. So it was like right at the Iron Man time for Favreau. Should have been like right around Hurt Locker time didn't Patty Jenkins do Hurt Locker?
She did, but that was like
it was
it was it
Catherine
was
Bigelow.
Oh,
yes.
Catherine Bigelow. Yeah, sorry, you're right. Yeah.
Point Break.
Still holds up.
But
Best movie ever, man.
Troy told me, 13 years ago that these 17 questions came from what Horowitz would ask all these directors after he was done interviewing them. So Troy answered them, Jason answered them, his brother answered them, our friend John Petty answered them, our friend Zach answered them. I ended up answering them. I think I was last. Jason posted his answers 3 days after Troy put out the challenge, and then I was 3 days after Jason put up his, so I was almost a week after Troy. But so we're going to go through those 17 questions that were the Horowitz questionnaire that he asked all these directors. We're going to look at our answers that we all gave in 2009, and we're going to discuss if we still believe those answers to be our answers now. The first question on the questionnaire is, what was the first film you ever saw? Troy, what was your answer?
I don't necessarily remember like the first movie I ever saw. I remember the first like experience that registered with me insofar as going to the movies.
Okay.
It was when there were theaters inside the mall. And then most malls had like 3 outside, 3 inside. It was at Castleton Square Mall, and I saw the Goonies.
Nice. That's a
inside
great
the
film.
mall.
That was your first film.
I don't necessarily think it was my first film. I just it's the one that I remember.
And I think that's kind of what the question is aimed at. It might not necessarily be what your first movie you ever saw was, but I think the question is trying to ask, like, what's the first movie you remember seeing?
Yeah. And
Jason and I actually have the exact same answer. So what is that, Jason?
Return of the Jedi. I was in Heilbronn, Germany, when I was an army brat, and this was probably in the summer of 1984, because we
a German film.
We usually ended up with these
Jedi?
movies. We ended up with movies about a year after they would show up, and actually sometimes it would be even longer than a year. But if it was a big blockbuster, it usually kind of made its way to us a little bit faster. But yeah, so we ended up with Return of the Jedi. I want to say it was the summer of '84, and so I would have been 3. And the first thing I remember seeing is the red and green lightsabers dueling of Luke and Vader at the end of that movie. That's the first images that I can remember vividly. So
while my answer is the same, oddly, my only images that I remember from when I saw it in the theater are R2 and C-3PO walking up to Jabba's palace at the very beginning. And the only reason I'm able to put everything together is because when I was like 8 or 9, I had like the book, the like picture book of Return of the Jedi, and like the first page or two had, the scene of R2 and 3PO walking up. And I remember going up to my parents and like I officially didn't remember watching the movie at this point, just having this book. And I said, I feel like I've seen this. Like I know I've seen this in a video. And they were like, yeah, we took you to see this movie in the theater, but literally that C-3PO R2-D2 part is the only thing I remember seeing in the theater. So, but that's the earliest memory I have of going to a theater to watch a movie. So basically that question can't be changed. So we can go ahead and move on to the second question, which is, what is your favorite film of all time? Troy?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Do you remember what you said in 2009?
I do.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it would have been like one of like 5.
Okay.
But I either Breathless or A Woman is a Woman.
A Woman is a Woman is the one that you had listed first.
Yeah, I had like a huge hard on for Jean-Luc Godard back then. I still do, but I don't know. I don't really care about movies anymore enough to say that I even have a favorite.
Like there's no movie that, like, if you were gonna put on one movie on repeat forever, what would it have to be now at this moment?
it'd have to be Spotify. Fuck that. Like I'm gonna listen to music. I'll stick with A Woman is a Woman with a special shout out to Metropolitan Barcelona and the Last Days of Disco by Whit Stillman, the trilogy, as I like to call it. The one true trilogy in the world.
Jason, remember your answer?
It's not of the rings, it's of the Jedi. No. So my answer back then was Star Wars: A New Hope.
Yep. I feel like that still sticks up from the conversations we've had on this podcast.
It does. Like it's definitely not even the best Star Wars movie, but it's literally the movie that like probably got me so interested in filmmaking and actually caring about film, like movies at all. And go ahead.
Can I ask a question? Like, that movie's really boring, right?
There's definitely
like
some.
The first hour is basically like robots walking through a desert, right?
It definitely does have some slow points. I'll give you that. But like, I just watched it again outside last year during the summertime when we were doing our outdoor movie series here at home, and like, dude, that like the whole like trench sequence and them flying through and stuff. Like, I was still like totally into it when we got to that point.
Nice.
Yeah, and so I like that movie just has a special place in my heart. So like, and I could see something changing it maybe sometime in the future if I found something awesome. I would say the only thing that honestly that's come even close, probably in the last like 10 years or maybe even 20, is The Greatest Showman. But yeah, that's definitely, Star Wars is definitely number one for me still.
Right on.
Can I ask another question before you answer, Shane? Yeah. And it's kind of like a greater point, just about like what I think about film in general. And especially like my relationship to it over the years and how it's changed is, like you mentioned, like Star Wars, and it's one of those things that like you kind of like, you acknowledge that it's like flawed in some way.
Oh yeah.
But you like you like that it like awakened in you these things. And so I guess like my question is like, do you think like films are like objectively good or bad? Or do you think like you react more to like what a movie and liking a movie says about you? Because that's kind of like this like greater thing that I found, like because I mean, obviously you guys know me, I went hardcore into like film studies.
Oh yeah.
And I found coming out the other side that like I don't really care about films in so much as I liked cataloging them in a weird way. And I more just kind of, I found that like I felt like I used them more as like cultural currency than like I got anything out of them.
And it's really Shane. Let's go into your answer.
Answer Troy's. We're all good. I'm chilling.
What I was going to say is, it definitely feels like film has taken a bad turn for me personally.
Oh yeah,
there's not too many nowadays that affects me on a level like it's. I want to love and hate Disney at the exact same time, right? Because like there are certain Disney movies, and it's mainly most of their like animated work that will get better reactions out of me emotionally than, or let me rephrase that. It takes me on a crazier, like an up and down journey roller coaster will happen more in a Disney animated film than I'm seeing in almost any film with live people lately.
Okay, I have two thoughts on that.
It's because they can control absolutely everything.
Pixar is really good at like fucking making you get inside your own head.
Yeah, like Coco and Up totally screwed me up emotionally.
Like Inside Out, all these things. Like it's just kind of like the movie Soul. I was just like, Jesus, man, I didn't really want to like look into reincarnation today, but here I am. and so like one of the things I'm thinking, like, do you think that possibly like your maybe disinterest in film today stems from the idea that like you have matured as a person and you maybe like have found other things in your life to like inform the person, like just inform the person that you are, you know what I mean? Like, as opposed to like when you were 19, you looked in the mirror and you were like, man, I'm the type of guy that likes Star Wars. As opposed to like now you look in the mirror and you're like, I'm a badass father of like 100 children. And like, I have my own street gang and like fucking, you know, the Boston Red Sox have won a title and like, I'm that person now. And maybe film doesn't like, I don't necessarily think that film now is better or worse than it always has been. It just maybe doesn't like hold the same sway over. It's not like a cultural signifier anymore for like your personhood.
So on this podcast where we talk about movies, we're going to remove Troy from the podcast now. I mean, I definitely agree with what Troy is saying, because my answer in 2009 was a film called Abre los Ojos, and that still sticks with me as probably my favorite film of all time. Like, there hasn't been anything since. I mean, there's a couple of movies since then that I absolutely love, Greatest Showman also being one of them. But like, Inception came out the year after we did this, and like Inception is one of those movies that despite its runtime, I will put it on and I will watch the entire film in one sitting, because I just think it's perfect on every level, from storytelling to visuals. It's amazing. But I still think if I was going to watch one or the other, I'd pick Abre los Ojos, just because I enjoy that story and the characters and their relationships and the sci-fi aspect to it. I really enjoy it as probably still my all-time favorite film. So like Troy was saying, I think because I liked it at a point in time where I felt defined by the movies that I liked, that nothing has changed me from that since then. So yeah, I would say Abre los Ojos holds up for me as my favorite. And as I mentioned, every time I bring up Abre los Ojos, my all-time favorite director remade my all-time favorite film and turned it into one of the worst pieces of crap on the planet, known as Vanilla Sky. And it sucks.
Oh man, Cameron Diaz was really good in Vanilla Sky, though, if I remember correctly.
She was all right. And I mean, Penelope Cruz was the exact same character, so she was fine. The next question we are getting to is your favorite line from a movie. Troy?
Fuck you, Jobu. I'll do it myself.
That is. Where are you guessing off the top of your head that was your answer?
I'm like 99% positive that's
you
my
are
answer,
correct.
Because
would you say that's still your favorite line from a movie?
If it's not that, it's something different from the same movie.
Thanks.
I'm a huge fan of Bartender Jobu Needs a Refill.
Yo.
I'm a huge fan of the scene where like Tom Berenger, Wesley Snipes, and Charlie Sheen go to the like fancy restaurant for the first time.
Yeah.
And Charlie Sheen looks at Tom Berenger and he goes, "I feel like a banker in this." I say that almost every time I put something nice on.
Awesome.
It's not a t-shirt. Yeah, no, that is the most infinitely quotable movie of all time.
It's a really good one.
Shout out to Dazed and Confused as well.
Sure.
It'd be a lot cooler if you
It
did.
did. Mm-hmm.
Is something that like I say all the time. Yeah, I think that it's definitely coming from one of those two movies.
Nice. Mr. Mayor?
I back when we did this,
Mm-hmm.
my quote came from The Girl Next Door, which has a lot of in my opinion, has a lot of quotable lines as well.
Oh yeah.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
What was your quote from The Girl Next Door? You got to give it to me.
The Girl Next Door's quote was, "I could make a better sex ed film with my mom," which is just so messed up and has so many layers to its onion. So,
well, and it's one of those fun things that if you were to say that to Justin Rochelle when you guys were out in public, you'd both know what you were saying, and everyone around you would be like, "What the fuck did he just say?"
Yes, absolutely. So, I don't know if there's anything better than that for me, man. Like,
right on.
This is still really good. Yeah, definitely.
Nice. My quote in 2009 came from the film Green Street Hooligans. It says, "You know what the best part is? It isn't knowing that your friends have your back. It's knowing that you have your friends' back." And that still 100% holds up with me. It's kind of a motto that I try to live my life by.
Did they steal that from Iceman and Top Gun?
I don't think so.
I feel like that's
I don't feel like Iceman would say anything that poetic.
No, man, because at the end he was just like, "Dude, you can ride my wing anytime," and he's like, "You can ride mine." And
how did I not see that? That was the same thing.
And then they hooked up. It was beautiful.
So yeah, mine's still the same as well. I'm not changing my answer at this point. Next up, what movie made you realize that film was an art? Troy?
Tell you what, films make me think that film isn't an art. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know if we have time for that.
I know
list.
this one.
That's a long list.
I know this one really easily, and it's the movie Safe by Todd Haynes.
Yep.
Yeah, what a fantastic movie. Julianne Moore probably should have won like 12 Oscars for this film. Yeah.
I saw it once a long time ago, so I don't really remember a whole lot of it. I remember liking Todd Haynes' next film better. What was the one that he did after Safe?
Shit, I don't know. Did he
Was
jump right into the Velvet Goldmine?
Velvet Goldmine, yeah. I think I really liked Velvet Goldmine.
Velvet
back
Goldmine
in the 90s.
Pretty amazing. Safe came out when I was like in high school. It was one of those things that like became a critic darling without the possibility of ever coming to Indianapolis. And so I had heard about this thing because even when I was 15, I was a hipster. And so I got it from Blockbuster. I watched it. I did not think I was like smart enough to understand it, which like frustrated me. I watched it again like 2 hours later, and I recognized like things that I had missed, and like just this like overwhelming tension that like it just kind of escaped me upon first viewing, because the monsters in that movie are not like jumping out of the water, or they aren't under the bed. They are all the things around you. Yeah. And it's it's one of the most tense movies I've ever seen. And it's it's just a fantastic piece of art.
Nice. Mr. Mayor?
Mine was Schindler's List.
Okay. What was it about Schindler's List that made you think of it as art?
Well, growing up, being, as far as I'm concerned, ignorant when it came to some film, especially before working at Castleton Arts. I kind of looked at black and white movies like, why would anybody watch those? Yeah, definitely, Troy.
Tip one out, baby. Love
best
you, Art.
Theater ever. But yeah,
best theater ever.
Like the fact that it was a a black and white movie, but then with Spielberg deciding to shoot it in black and white instead of color, and then adding in the color for the little girl's coat, it was definitely something that made me look at it from a different perspective and different angle. And so that's definitely when I saw that you could actually like manipulate things and how you were shooting them and stuff to like actually convey feeling and thought more so than just spoon feeding you, essentially.
Sure.
Can I say something about Schindler's List?
Yeah.
I find Ralph Fiennes in that movie like too unbelievably good looking to have existed during that time.
Okay.
And it takes me out of the entire movie.
I could totally see that.
Interesting.
Like, I'm just kind of like, no, you do whatever. Like, this guy would have been a fucking model. Like, this guy would have been on Nazi posters. They would have been like, no, this guy is the most beautiful Aryan creature.
Yeah, I was going to say definitely.
Like, he wouldn't have been some guy. Like, and I just can't buy. Like, Ralph Fiennes' jawline is so refined in that movie. It's fucking like it's concentration breaking. Like,
I can definitely believe that.
Sometimes people are too good looking for the characters they play, and it's really like the fatal flaw of Hollywood. They need more people like me in movies.
Just dancing.
So my answer of what made me realize film was art was Memento. It was not my first non-linear film that I'd ever seen. Obviously, like Pulp Fiction was around, and I'd seen that before I saw Memento. But there was just something different about Memento. It's narrative storytelling. It's not even just the fact that it tells the story backwards. It's the pieces that it gives you and doesn't give you for the next scene. It's one of my favorite films for the fact that when you watch it in chronological order, it becomes a completely different story than watching it backwards. And it was one of those things that like I watched it 6 times in the theater because I just couldn't get enough of watching it. I just always wanted to just see how those characters played out again. And so, yeah, that was the first one. That was the first film where I actually like analyzed a lot of stuff. And then probably, the next year after that was Mulholland Drive, which,
I consider that all the shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say it blew away Memento, and even more so than like, I mean, I liked Lost Highway, but like Mulholland Drive was the David Lynch film that was just like, this is bonkers and insane, and
that's like smoking some weed, and then somebody's like, "Hey, man, that's cool. You want to try acid for like 7 days?" Right.
Yeah. So Memento first, and then followed the next year with Mulholland Drive, were the two that just completely showed me that there was a different world than narrative storytelling out there. Guilty pleasures. The next question is, what movie do you consider your guilty pleasure? Troy?
I gave a huge answer about this on my blog. I remember that because like I've staunchly been a person that does not feel guilty about anything that they like. If you move me, you move me.
Yeah, and your number one answer isn't a guilty pleasure, in my opinion. It's just an awesome movie.
I agree.
No, it wasn't. I don't think it was a guilty pleasure then. I just wanted to shout it out.
Okay.
So you already did that tonight.
Yeah.
So we'll throw up The Rock for Point Break always.
Nice.
Let's see. What do I feel guilty about now? Yeah, nothing. Nothing. It's all great.
Fair enough.
Like shout out 2 Chainz for being like the best rapper on the planet. That's a guilty pleasure. Fucking yeah, I don't know.
All right, Jason L. Mayer, what in 2009 was your guilty pleasure? Again, a movie that I love, so I'm not calling it a guilty pleasure.
See, and I remember getting a little bit of flack about this movie when I listed it. It is Varsity Blues.
Mm-hmm.
What? Fuck, dude! I don't want your life. Like, fuck.
Like, but
why
I feel like that's a movie that we like nobody should like but I could still watch. Hold on, I could still watch it to this day and absolutely love that movie.
Oh yeah.
Another one that has tons of quotable lines.
Oh yeah.
Like there's just so much that's good about.
I love that dog.
I think it's a pig.
Scott Conn should have won like 14 Oscars for that movie.
For Tweeter.
Fucking Tweeter, you're gonna end up in jail, man. Like,
I'm going to jail.
You gonna enjoy prison? What?
Yeah, exactly, man. Fucking tweeter.
I love
like,
the part where he opens up his pants and he's like, "What the fuck is that?" like I'm not even sure what he saw. I'm not like, this is kind of messed up.
Tweeter drank beer because Tweeter drank beer.
I have to say, I can't consider this a guilty pleasure. Like, it's just a really good movie.
I'm trying to think of something that I would probably say is worse than this. That could land on the list. Would maybe because I'm fine with taking Varsity Blues off because it's a great movie. It's fun. Maybe Joe Dirt.
Okay.
Also a really good movie.
Like that movie's so messed up and stupid.
Yeah.
Like it's like I'm your sister. Like it's just, I don't know, man. Like there's a whole lot of The Room could be up there technically, but like that's so good it's bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's so bad it's good. Yeah, there's a lot of movies that I could put on this list, but I would say and see, Joe Dirt's just me like trying to pull something out now instead of like really thinking about that. So
I understand.
Yeah,
Varsity Blues is definitely
guilty about this shit, man.
And that's the point, right? Like I'm right with you because there's so many times where like I watch a movie and I find it, if it's hitting you on some kind of level, then why the hell are you guilty? Why is it guilty?
I feel guilty about liking Taco Bell. I don't feel guilty about liking movies.
Nice.
That's a good one.
Like, fuck.
So my question is, in 2009, I answered Coyote Ugly. Is that a guilty pleasure, or is that actually a really good movie?
Piper Perabo should have won like -18 Oscars for that movie. But it does have John Goodman, so you can't feel guilty about that.
Good. All right. Well, I'm fine kicking that off. I'm not sure what. I mean, I could go with the modern version of Coyote Ugly and say that I enjoyed Hustlers, but I really only enjoyed it for the women that were in the movie. Like the movie itself was pretty garbage. But yeah, I really can't think of too many things. I mean, I like all those DMX movies that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, and most people think that they're pretty terrible. So I don't know if those are guilty pleasures of mine.
Yeah, I know you weren't talking about Belly.
We did talk about Belly.
The opening of Belly
we
might
didn't
be like the hardest scene ever.
What were you saying, Jason?
I was saying we didn't say Belly was a bad movie.
No.
I've never seen Belly, but like I was definitely ripping on some Exit Wounds because like that movie is horrible.
Is that the one with Steven Seagal?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. The great time that he worked with Steven Seagal. Yeah, it's really good.
We're not gonna blame that on X.
No.
Oh no. Can't blame him. He was fine in the movie. The movie's just crap.
Yeah, the movie is blah. Next question. Who is your favorite movie character of all time? Troy?
Wooderson from Dazed and Confused.
Which is a great character. McConaughey was dope.
Yeah, I mean, problematic as fuck, especially as we like have moved into the future.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely ended up in jail with Tweeter. But no, just laying down the vibe, like setting an entire template for a guy in movies.
Does that answer still hold up today? Is that still your answer?
Probably not, but like, fuck, dude, like I'm my favorite character in movies, like, because like every movie is about me, every song is about me, every fucking like podcast I listen to is ultimately about me. So no, I mean, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go with Wooderson.
See, anytime anybody ever thought that I was a narcissist, I just need to make sure that I have Troy hang out with me, and then it puts everything into perspective. I'm really not that bad.
I don't think that's a narcissistic thing to say. I think that's like a realist thing to say.
I feel you. I do the same thing that you do.
I mean, well, okay, like you're choosing choice A over choice B. Why? What does that say? It doesn't say anything about A or B. It says that the entirety is in you.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a thing A person, or I'm a thing B person.
Yep.
And so like if you're gonna make these distinctions in art, like at least understand that like the distinction you're making is within yourself. Like it's fucking that's all this shit is. That's all film ever was to me, was like a conduit to learn about my favorite subject, me.
Interesting. You're going deep, like metaphorical, psychological on us tonight.
I mean, that's
why we invited him, isn't it?
but like it was the Oscar Wilde, right? Like he said, true art reveals more about the spectator than the artist. Like that's a belief. I mean, that's
good.
Yeah, that's fair.
Jason, your favorite character of all time?
Favorite character on this was Han Solo on our original list.
Does that hold up with all the iterations we've gotten since then?
Probably not.
Okay.
I feel like that they've definitely castrated him is a good phrase that I would like to use. Because here you got a guy who was, known for shooting first, and then he wasn't, and then they made his whole reason why he ended up becoming who he was literally all because of a woman, not because of the circumstances that he was in. Like, not trying to he wasn't just a scoundrel for a scoundrel. He literally got into the business of being a scoundrel because of a woman. Which I mean, I guess you could play that because then the reason he comes out of being a scoundrel is because of a woman too. Like, I don't know. It just felt like they definitely took his balls and cut him off.
Totally agree.
I would definitely, in this scenario, even though he wasn't completely inspired by Han Solo, and I wrote about it on my blog, I'm probably going to go with Malcolm Reynolds instead, because he is literally because of Han Solo, but he is he still has his balls, and he does whatever he fucking wants, and he does it his way, and he doesn't care, and it's his way or get the fuck off his ship. Like, go ahead.
Who's Malcolm Reynolds?
Captain of Serenity. He was also the captain of the ship on Firefly. So the television show and the movie written by Joss Whedon.
I do know that guy.
So yeah. After Buffy and Angel, he went on to make a space cowboy opera, essentially, and he essentially took Han Solo and the best parts of Han Solo and rolled him into this character named Malcolm Reynolds, and he stays true to who he is throughout the whole thing. He's still tortured because of a woman, slightly tortured because of his love for a woman, but it's like a small part of him that he even puts her in, make sure she understands where once his mind's made up, it's done. Get out of his way. He's a true, it's kind of interesting to me because I feel like he is essentially kind of like a Jason Statham character. Like, he is a true man. Like almost every time Jason Statham plays any character, he's literally the man, and
he's just like a walking penis,
dude. I mean, he's awesome.
I get it.
He's awesome at that character, right? That's why he keeps getting the roles that he does. I've never seen him actually do any real acting.
What if he was really good at it? What if he was an amazing crier? I think that would make my day.
I want to see now I want to see him make a comedy, a real comedy that's not action based at all. That it's just he keeps threatening to beat somebody up and falls down or something constantly. He just keeps screwing up. That would be hilarious to me. But
no, I want to see Jason Statham have to deal with a parent with Alzheimer's or something. Really stretch the sensitivity to the maximum. That's what I want to see.
That'd be
maybe Judi Dench or some shit.
That's crazy.
Well, Helen Mirren plays his mom in the Fast and Furious series.
Of course, man. But Helen Mirren can still kick your ass. She's badass.
So my answer back in 2009 was Sam, Liam Neeson's stepson in Love Actually. While I do, the drummer kid. Yeah.
Oh, man.
In 2009, that was I know I wrote up a whole big thing about having to do with the naivety of love and how he thinks he loves this girl, but he's being completely ridiculous about it because he's 10 years old or whatever in the movie. Um, I will definitely say that would not be my answer now.
Shane's just this hopeless romantic who constantly.
You're not wrong, and I
Love
that kid
Actually
had
definitely is hopeless.
Yeah, I'm definitely hopeless. The kid had like his whole life ahead of him. He like had this obsession with one girl. Like I liked his naivety of the fact that he just always thought that whatever he did, he'd be able to win the girl. Like no real sense of heartbreak until the end of the movie, and then like it still turns out good. So that's what I put then, and I've been trying to think about this all week, and there's a lot of characters and stuff that I like now. Like Malcolm Reynolds is one of them. Leonardo DiCaprio in Inception is one of them. But like I can't narrow down and just pick one of them that's like my favorite character of all time at the moment. I'm just having trouble with it. Like potentially I would have to go back to Green Street Hooligans because Pete Dunham in that movie is an amazing character for the journey that he goes on during the movie. But yeah, I haven't been able to 100% pick who would replace Sam. Like, but I know that's not my answer anymore. Next question: what is your favorite movie snack food?
Has not changed.
Troy took a. I don't disagree with Troy's answer, but Troy took a. It said food.
Breakfast of champions, baby.
He chose drink. But yeah, Troy, your answer was beer. I'm assuming that hasn't changed.
Yeah, man. If I'm gonna sit down and watch a movie, I'm probably gonna be faded at this point in my life.
Right on.
Unless it's a Michael Cera movie, I can watch it sober.
Pineapple Express, baby. Oh wait,
Jason?
that wasn't him. That wasn't him, was it?
No, it was
not. Mine was popcorn. Still is, man.
Still
like,
popcorn.
I missed that like crazy. I went when I got to see Godzilla versus Kong. I had my popcorn. I had my drink. I was perfect. It was so great. I'm looking forward to when I see Mortal Kombat too. So.
Nice. Red Vines was my answer. Probably still my answer. I really enjoy Red Vines. I get burned out on Red Vines from time to time because I make the mistake of buying that giant round tub of them that's like 6 pounds of Red Vines, and I eat about half of them and then I'm done. And then they go stale. So Red Vines is still my answer. Who is your favorite director of all time? Troy?
Fuck. I don't know who I answered back then.
Do you want me to tell you or do you want to guess?
I'll just go ahead and say Whit Stillman.
That is who you said in 2009. Yep.
That's still the fucking world champ, dog. Like, yeah.
All right. So is that still standing or do you got somebody else?
I don't watch movies really, so I'll go with Whit Stillman. Yeah.
What I'm not totally familiar with his work. What are his main movies that you love from him?
Metropolitan, Barcelona, and The Last Days of Disco.
Okay, I do know The Last Days of Disco.
They are a trilogy of films, like a loosely cobbled together trilogy. They are young yuppies in love in the early 80s, navigating the murky waters of trying to take the moral high ground while still trying to have a good time during the pre-HIV sexual revolution that was kind of like dying out in the late 80s or in the early 80s.
I'm assuming a movie called Barcelona takes place in Spain.
It does. It takes place in Barcelona.
Where do the other two take place at? Are they also European films?
They're both in New York.
Oh, okay.
Whit Stillman was like an Ivy Leaguer. His movies were about Ivy League kids
Nice.
that didn't really have any problems other than the fact that they were awkward with people.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just nice movies. He made nice movies. He made movies about people that I could see myself knowing. While at the same time making movies about people that lived in like an echelon of life that I would never actually know because I'm not like a mega billionaire child. Those movies have always had like a really special place in my heart.
Nice.
I think he deserves credit for that. Beyond that, Jean-Luc Godard obviously is world class. the history of cinema is fun. Like the history of anything is fun. Like go find yourself like an obscure history to find. It's good. Research that. It'll do you more pleasure than sitting down and watching any movie.
Jason, I am familiar with your favorite director in 2009. Who was it, and has it changed?
It's James Cameron was what I listed in 2009. It's tough for me to say if he's still that.
Okay.
I think that he's made some incredible movies, but then he's made some very blah movies too.
Blue, Blue people movies. Is that what you said? You broke up.
Yeah, those two. But I mean, if I didn't go with him, I'd probably go Spielberg, and I mean he's made some really duds too, but I just the evolution of cinema because of those two, as far as like the way that they made movies and stuff, for me personally, and kind of like what we were talking about earlier with like what's your favorite movie of all time. I think from a technical standpoint, like they kept pushing boundaries that just like nobody, like as far as special effects especially went, like that nobody else was trying to push as hard. I could see myself answering I'd probably stick to him or Spielberg. So it's hard for me to decide between those two, and I know that's a vanilla answer for the most part. So, but yeah.
My all-time favorite director was Cameron Crowe at that point, is still Cameron Crowe at this point. He has had some duds on his resume. Aloha was not that good, and obviously I've already said that he ruined Abre Los Ojos by making Vanilla Sky, but everything else that Cameron Crowe has had his finger on, I've absolutely enjoyed and loved. Like even the Pearl Jam documentary that he did, I thought was phenomenal. So it's still Cameron Crowe for me. I still love the stories that he has given me in my life, and the characters that he has made me fall in love with, still very high on my list. So my director has not changed.
She's still married to Nancy Wilson from Heart.
Yes.
Man,
I believe they're divorced now, but they were married for a long time.
Me out.
Yeah,
that bums me out. That was
they
like
did
a
get
great
divorced.
Story.
Yeah, I agree.
Those were two fantastic artists.
Yeah, and I think their divorce wasn't too long ago, like maybe like the last 5 to 8 years or something.
He's like 90 years old, man. He stuck it out. Like just fucking whatever.
In 2009, we asked the question, who is the most impressive filmmaker working today? Troy listed 2 people I've never heard of, so tell me who they were and why you thought they were the most impressive filmmakers.
I know one of them was Olivier Assayas.
Mm-hmm.
I still stand that. Like that guy's fucking incredible still.
What did he do? Why don't I know him?
Because he's a French filmmaker, and you probably don't give a shit about that.
Fair enough.
I'm not gonna roll out and watch a bunch of French movies.
Nah, probably not.
He recently made the movie with Kristen Stewart.
The
what?
one where she was like a house private shopper or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't remember that. It might have been called Shopper or something like that. Or
I can't remember the title of it, but yeah. Like he made that. It was pretty fantastic.
It looked pretty good.
Yeah. If I would have thought about this more at the time, I would have said the answer that I'm going to say now, which is Sofia Coppola, who's probably like knocking on the door of being my favorite director of all time.
Nice. Big Lost in Translation fan?
I'm a really big Virgin Suicides fan.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think that movie is fantastic.
Great cast.
Trip Fontaine is like the coolest fucking guy in the world in that movie.
Personal Shopper was the name of the movie.
Personal Shopper,
yeah.
Was Trip Fontaine Josh Hartnett?
Yeah, Josh Hartnett.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Who's basically like just there to look cool in sunglasses and like butterfly collars, and he nails it.
Dude, Josh Hartnett's just gorgeous.
Yeah, he's a very good looking person, as were all the Lisbon sisters. Basically anybody who's going to be in a Sofia Coppola movie is going to be like an extremely good looking person, or Bill Murray. Yeah, no, Sofia Coppola just like she hits me right in the heart of like all the things that I like. I like pretty colors. I like volatile emotions
Okay.
that are held like kind of like under the like mask of reservedness. I like Jesus and Mary Chain songs. I like fucking like, hitting people with like really hard fucking
Sophia
content when it drops.
Sophia Coppola did the Bill Murray Rashida Jones movie, right?
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Was that Sophia Coppola?
Um
Let me look it up.
I'm gonna go with fact checker over here.
Yeah,
Sophia Coppola like made a run recently of movies that were not necessarily like loved by people, like The Bling Ring. I was a big fan of that.
On the Rocks
was her. Okay.
It was her.
She made The Bling Ring also?
Yeah, she made The Bling Ring.
Oh,
She made
okay.
a movie called either Somewhere or Nowhere with Stephen Dorff and one of the Fannings, where
Oh,
he is
okay.
her father. And it's like
Oh,
a really
that's the one. They live at the Chateau Mama.
yeah. It's
Okay,
like
yeah,
a nice little
I actually really liked
meditation on
that
like
movie. I didn't know
parenthood.
she directed that.
Yeah, no, she made some real bangers. Like
Yeah,
she always hits right to the heart of things that I like. In that, like her characters' superpowers are emotional ones.
nice. Jason's answer in 2009 is who I am going to change my answer to. 2009 was 1 year before Inception came out, so I think Jason was riding the Dark Knight train at this point when he filled this out.
I did. So I picked Christopher Nolan as my most impressive filmmaker working today.
Interesting question.
For real.
Well, thanks, Siri, for joining our call.
But that's a tough one, man. Like, I think what might the Russo brothers are creeping up on my list. I won't say they're the most impressive, but considering the scope of what they had to deal with and pulling off the emotional journey that I went on with the Avenger movies.
I will give you the Russo brothers for the emotional journey they took me on in Community, because all their Community episodes are amazing.
Well, yeah. So the two Captain America movies that they did and the two Avenger movies. They definitely. I have yet to watch Cherry. I keep meaning to, and I've forgotten to.
Me too.
But it's definitely. I think they're climbing up the ropes on that on most impressive.
Nice.
What I really appreciate about Christopher Nolan is he likes to make his movie. And it's literally like I tried to explain it when and what's the movie that came out? Well, Tenet. When Tenet came out and I watched it and I was like, it's something that I don't know, Troy, if you watched it or not, but I had to I was sitting there thinking about it for a long time after I watched the movie, kind of like you did with Inception. But I feel like I thought about it even more so with this movie. What's interesting about Tenet is like I was trying to explain it to our guests who were buying tickets for it. They were like, I heard it's kind of weird. And I'm like, I finally figured out it's if David Mamet was making movies but had whatever budget he wanted to have. Like literally. That's what I feel like he's like the mainstream version of David Mamet with an endless supply of cash. Like
I feel like David Mamet made the movie. Makes the movies he wants to make. It's just
no, you're right. But I'm just trying to think of it on a relatable level, because like you're right. David Mamet isn't sitting there trying to make blockbusters, obviously, but like I feel like Christopher Nolan's literally kind of in that wheelhouse of like there's very few, like I have a feeling that Christopher Nolan literally could walk in and it's almost like George Lucas power at this point.
Oh, for sure.
Walk in, take a crap on a table, pick it up, throw it against a wall and be like, that's my next movie. And Warner Brothers would be like, totally, I'm on board. Give him the budget. And it's just like, cause like he takes these far out crazy ideas and he does whatever he wants with them and he gets to make his movie and I think Tenet, if it would have been released in a non-COVID time, would have made plenty of money. Because you would have had so many people that would have come back multiple times. So I'll keep with Christopher Nolan, but I think that there's other people that are sniffing behind.
Nice. In 2009, I said J.J. Abrams. Mostly, honestly, this had a lot to do with his connection with Lost, because Mission Impossible 3 was literally like the only movie he had directed at that point. So I think I was just riding high on. I was a big Lost fanboy. I said that he was the most impressive filmmaker working at that point because he had just done one movie. I felt like he was going to blow up. Looking back, obviously things like Following and Memento, I didn't care for Insomnia, The Dark Knight, or Batman Begins and The Dark Knight were in this time. Like I should have said in 2009 Christopher Nolan, but even today, the most impressive filmmaker working right now in 2021 is still Christopher Nolan, for the reasons you just said. I think he is a very intelligent person who comes up with his own ideas and concepts and scripts and gets the money to make them, and they turn out very well.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, well, I was just going to say, like, I feel like Christopher Nolan is the intelligent M. Night Shyamalan, and it's either like you like him or you hate him. Like, his projects either speak to you where you're like, I really enjoy the story of Tenet and reversing time, or I enjoy Memento being told backwards, or I enjoy, just the other weird, like Interstellar is one of my least favorite of his movies, but it's still one of those ones where like you either love it or you hate it. I ended up not liking it just because there's things in Interstellar that I really like, but I feel like I figured out the movie too fast, and that kind of ruined what he tried to do in the end. But I like I said, I compare him to M. Night Shyamalan, where you either really enjoy him and enjoy his method of storytelling, or you just completely hate it. So I would still say, because Tenet is one of my most recent favorite films, that I still think he's a very impressive filmmaker.
I was going to, the other one that just popped into my brain while we were talking was Jordan Peele.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah.
What he's pulled off
in the last couple of years.
His horror movies that he's actually written and directed, or I can't remember. Did he direct both of Get Out and Us? Or did he just?
Yeah.
I think he did. I think he directed both of those.
Yeah, but doing Get Out and Us alone gives you clout. And then on top of that, I've heard really good things about the Twilight Zone series. I haven't watched it, but and then just how much he's producing now, and obviously trying to make a dent nowadays. And I think he's got some really good ideas. I'm looking forward to his Candyman coming.
Oh yeah. Well, and I mean, like, he didn't even direct that; he only produced that.
Yeah, so. I know he only produced it, but at least he had hands in it. So,
sure.
Like, I have a feeling that it's something that it would be at least entertaining. So
he is probably one of the top 3 best producers working right now, and like what his production company is putting out, and like the stories that because there was that period of time where Quentin Tarantino was putting his name on a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what Jordan Peele is doing now, where like if something through his production company like is telling a story that he is invested in or thinks is a good story or whatever, it's like Jordan Peele presents Antebellum, which I thought was a pretty awesome movie. The next question on the list was, what quality do the best directors share? Troy?
Fuck, man. They all moved on to doing something else.
Okay. In 2009, let me quote you. An understanding that a story is also told visually and that it must match the feeling created by sound, music, dialogue, and that style is substance.
Yeah, I'll still go with that. That sounds fine.
I mean, those were your words in 2009. If you want to change them or add anything, go for it.
Sounds like something I would have said like 13 years ago. Yeah, no, I don't know. Like, I don't think the best directors have anything in common.
Okay.
Like, legit. Like, I think that's kind of the point.
Have their own
ones that do have a lot of common similarities, like their movies all just kind of like gravitate toward the middle anyway, don't they? Yeah, I don't know. Fuck. And you better grab me within the first like 15 minutes. I have a quick hook. the age of streaming has brought out like the worst of my tendencies to just be like, nah, I'm not feeling this.
Are there a lot of movies that you'll switch off after 15 minutes? Like you don't have any problem not finishing them?
Damn near every fucking movie I watch. Like,
okay.
Like I haven't seen the ending of a Christopher Nolan movie since the last one I saw in the theater, which was what's the one with Leonardo DiCaprio? The
Inception
top thing.
Inception. Yep, Inception.
Yeah, that was it.
Wow.
I haven't finished a Christopher Nolan movie since then.
Interesting.
It's all fireworks and palaver. It's all just kind of like gimmickry.
Understandable.
I would also like to see Christopher Nolan direct said Jason Statham movie about dealing with a parent with Alzheimer's, and have to actually play it straight through. No like memory lapses or any fucking tricks. Like,
so he has to tell a linear, coherent story.
Yeah, man. I want to see him make like, fucking My Dinner with Andre or whatever. Like, I just want to see, want you to sit in a room and like shoot two people talking.
Okay. Okay. Jason?
Like, this is like a Shia LaBeouf movie that needs.
Jason,
Shia LaBeouf's playing the Alzheimer's, older person with Alzheimer's.
Do like the Paul Rudd movie where it's like Paul Rudd talking to Paul Rudd or whatever. Fucking do that with Shia LaBeouf. Like, we'll have.
But then where's Jason Statham? Then where does Jason Statham's character?
Man, who gives a shit? He doesn't need any more money. He's fine.
Jason, do you remember what you said in 2009?
I don't, but I'm reading it right in front of me.
Okay, go for it.
The ability to the characters in the world film come to life.
You stand by that, or you change your mind?
Like, if I can't connect to someone in your movie, what the hell's the point in me watching it? I'm with Troy. I might have a little bit longer leash, but like I remember vividly giving up on Bridesmaids because I really didn't give a flying fuck after 15 minutes. And so many people I know that loved that movie, and like I turned it on and I was like, I hate everybody already, and the main character is depressing me, literally depressing me. So me and my wife were watching it. We were excited to watch it because everybody was like, it's so funny. And then I was 15 minutes, 20 minutes in, literally turned it off. So
understand. Like, well done. Like, it's like, it needs to be relegated from its spot as like a top women's comedy because it's no Mean Girls.
I definitely agree with that statement, and I agree with your feelings.
Like literally, Mean Girls. Even being a man who used to be a boy in high school, like you totally understand that entire film.
Oh yeah,
Although, man, I'm gonna say that I also feel that way about The Hangover.
Okay.
I don't like anybody in that movie either, other than Mike Tyson. Because Mike Tyson did what I wanted to do anyway, which was punch Ed Helms in the fucking face. Yep. And so, like, that's about it. That's what I have to say about that.
All right. My answer in 2009 was a simple 2-word answer, which basically says the exact same thing that Jason said. Mine was emotional connection. The best directors can bring out emotions in characters subtly and make me connect to any like ensemble casts are easy so that there's somebody in the cast that I can associate with and feel like I'm going on the movie journey with that character, whether it's the main character or a side character. I just want that emotional connection, and I feel like that's what the best director can do. Who is your favorite actor or actress of all time? Troy?
2009 answer was Katharine Hepburn.
Yep. Does that hold up?
She is still fucking fantastic in almost everything she was in.
Mm-hmm.
She had a run from like 1937 to about like 1947, which is like unassailable.
I need to watch more of her movies.
Is she my like? Yeah, you should watch all the like Katharine Hepburn, Spencer Tracy movies. She did a couple of good ones with Cary Grant, Jimmy Cooper. You should start with the Philadelphia Story. Like that's like the anti-Bridesmaids, because like it's a movie where like things are completely fucked up, but like every person in the movie is like just a genuinely like great person, and you root for them hard. Yeah, no, I don't know, man. I really love Michael Cera a lot.
Okay.
Fucking, I'll watch anything he's in.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm probably just gonna go with Katharine Hepburn.
Jason, your 2009 answer. What is it, and does it hold up?
Tom Hanks. He's my all-time favorite. It still holds up. He's just
Right on.
fantastic.
My answer in 2009 was Jimmy Stewart. I don't know why I was on a Jimmy Stewart kick then, because I probably wouldn't answer that now, but looking at it and looking at the movies of his that I listed that I like, I can't argue that he is probably one of the best actors of all time. Possibly not my favorite at the moment, but of all time, I mean, he worked with Hitchcock. I love It's a Wonderful Life, so I'm probably going to say he's probably the best actor of all time, in my opinion. Maybe not 100% my favorite at the moment.
He was fantastic.
Yeah.
He was so malleable. You could put him in like anything, and it was just like before the grace of God go I. Like you're just like, you know what I mean? You put him in a Hitchcock movie and you're like tense for him. Mm-hmm. You put him in like a romantic comedy and you're just like, oh, that's me, man. That's my guy.
And Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Yeah, no, I mean exactly. Like he is the fucking wet dream of what we would love all of our senators to be. and what like none of them are. And so like, yeah, no, I mean literally like Jimmy Stewart was the perfect embodiment of like everything good that humanity like holds itself up to be. And
for sure.
Like just an unattainable goal, but what a great watch. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more.
All right, in 2009, actor. Troy, who was your favorite actor working at that point?
Fuck. Oh, Bill Hader. Bill Hader.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that Michael Cera is your answer for now.
You know, I mean, I can't, like, dude, fuck, like, give me Superbad every day. You can get Bill Hader and Michael Cera.
There you go.
With like a crafty bit of McLovin in there as well. Yeah, no, like, I mean, Bill Hader is fucking amazing. Have you seen that HBO show?
I haven't.
Incredible. Like, unbelievable actor. Like, nice. The things he can pull off, like, he's kind of like a modern day Jimmy Stewart to me.
Oh,
like, he can be funny. He can be a little dark. He can be a little, like, weird and sinister. But, like, every time you're with him, you just kind of are just like, I'm riding with that guy. Like, I you know,
sure.
Michael Cera, obviously, like, very cutesy, very fun. I root for him.
Sure.
Like I would like a little brother or like a sibling.
Nice. So Jason, the reason I made the comment earlier that I thought you were riding on The Dark Knight at the time ties into your answer here, where your favorite actor working in 2009 was Gary Oldman.
I totally could see why I would have answered that at the time.
Does it hold up?
He's in my top 5 probably of all time period. Like that dude, you don't know what he looks like in real life. Like he literally every single movie looks completely different.
Like Gary Oldman weighs 150 pounds. I didn't really recognize that until recently. He's a tiny guy.
Yeah.
He seems so much bigger. Like his presence is like 6'4" and like kind of fat.
Yep.
I might pull off this. I could go Leo, because Leo is somebody who, no matter what movie he's in, I thoroughly, with the exception of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I almost enjoy every single movie Leonardo DiCaprio's been in. So, yeah, like and he's also in my top 5 of all time with Tom Hanks and Gary Oldman easily. So,
my answer in 2009 was Liam Neeson. And that honestly probably just stems from my love for Love Actually. And then it was right after Taken had come out. So I'm pretty sure I was riding really high on Liam Neeson at that point. Right now, favorite actor working, honestly, in the last few years, I'd probably, since Inception, probably Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which honestly also goes back all the way to 1999. But like, he did Inception, which I absolutely loved him in, and then like the plane movie that he did recently, the 8500 or whatever that plane movie was, he was really good in that. And Brick, obviously, I loved him in. So like, I would probably have to change my answer for favorite actor working right now. I look forward to everything that Joseph Gordon-Levitt does. Troy, are you not a JGL fan or JLG fan?
Me?
Yeah, you looked disapproving of my answer.
When you said Inception, I thought you were going to go with Tom Hardy. And I was ready to like explode because he's the buff Gary Oldman. Like, I don't exactly know what he looks like, but I do know that like that guy can physically dominate a space like sure. Very few people can. But no, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's fantastic, great actor. What's the movie? What's the Zooey Deschanel movie? The
500 Days of Summer.
Yeah, 500 Days of Summer. What a lovely little film.
Great movie.
That one, 50-50 was really good.
50-50 was really good, yep.
He was really good in Looper, even though the movie's just kind of blah. He was fantastic trying to play the younger version of Bruce Willis.
And the greatest thing that I like about Looper, I like the fact that JLG decided he wanted to mimic Bruce Willis so that Bruce Willis could it wasn't Bruce Willis trying to play an older version of Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Like, Joseph Gordon-Levitt tried to mimic Bruce Willis so that it made sense. I appreciate the fact that he tried to do that. I don't necessarily think it worked very well, but
I thought it worked pretty well. But on top of that, like, dude, do you really think Bruce Willis gives a flying fuck anymore? Like, they would have said, "Can you play the older version of JLG and then JGL?" And he would have been like, "Sure," and it would have been Bruce Willis still. So
probably
right. The only option there was Joseph Gordon-Levitt playing the younger version.
Well, and that just showed his acting range because I thought it was right.
Fantastic.
While we're on currently working actors, I need to ask Jason Mayer a question.
Yeah.
Did you catch the Lifetime movie, the little 15-minute where Mario Lopez played Colonel Harlan Sanders?
I did not actually end up watching it.
Oh, holy shit, dog.
You sent me the trailer or whatever, and I'm dying laughing.
You gotta watch the movie, man. It's like 20 minutes of your time. Just put it on. Like, that made me I would have given that movie 14 Oscars last year, like, easily. Like, fucking Mario Lopez fucking balled out.
Exactly the same as he did when he was 14. Like, dude,
that guy,
30 years ago.
Whatever fucking steroids AC Slater was taking back in the day, like, give me like 8 of those, like, inject those into my veins. Like, that guy's older than me, and it really bums me out. Like, a lot.
He's like I saw a picture of him. I follow him on Instagram, and like there was a picture of him, and he's holding his son, who they had just given him a haircut or something, and he's like holding his kid, and his kid and him are like both shirtless, and I'm sitting there like you work out a lot. I mean, his arms are still chiseled, he's
the most designer steroids, dog. Like,
you can afford them when you host every access show on cable network television.
I mean, dog, I've run through Saved by the Bell like 8 times on Hulu. He's still making that coin.
Yep.
Like, fucking love that guy. R.I.P. Screech.
Yeah. All right. The next question is, who would you cast in a film about your life? Troy?
Shane wants your life.
At the time, I said Paul Schneider.
You did?
Who I still feel...
Because you're a big Lars and the Real Girl fan. You forced me to watch that movie.
No, not Lars and the Real Girl. That was Ryan Gosling. All the Real Girls.
Or All the Real Girls. Sorry, yes, All the Real Girls. Yeah.
I would still ride or die for that movie. That movie is fucking amazing. Paul Schneider should have been a way bigger star. Like, I will die on that hill. Is that guy
real quick? Did Paul Schneider and Pablo Schrader ever do a movie together?
Fuck if I know. I don't know.
Okay, I thought you were a big Pablo Schrader fan, also.
Who is that?
Hold on. You keep talking. I will look him up real quick.
So I'm gonna take this a step further just for fun on this topic. And Shane, we can amend this otherwise with other.
No, go for it.
So it cracks me up because who would you cast in a film about your life? I saw the list on our notes here, and it says Troy, Paul Schneider, and my brain immediately when I read it was Paul Rudd, and I totally could see you getting by Paul Rudd. So
I mean, when I saw Paul Schneider, I thought we were talking about the dude that does the "How Did This Get Made" podcast. The bald. All right, keep going.
So yeah. Anyway, so I think we should amend it. So Shane, you've got to pick somebody that could play Troy in Troy's movie about his life.
Troy's movie about his life.
I mean, like I was just picking Paul Schneider because he was kind of had like that everyman yet still in love with himself vibe that like I rock. But
I don't know. I'd go with here we go. I'd go with I had his name wrong. It's Pablo Schreiber. But I mean, I'd go with this dude as being Troy. Oh man, of course.
It's all blown out.
Yeah.
I can't say it.
Yeah.
So anyway, dude, if I had to pick somebody to play Troy, I would get
like 2 Chainz or like T.I. Lil Wayne would be fucking fire.
Who would be Bill Hader would be a good Troy. Like literally,
I totally go in there too.
Like if you're gonna be Seth Rogen,
play a really good me.
Who?
I think Jason Sudeikis could play a really good me.
Oh,
I would give you that too. Yeah.
Like more like We're the Millers, Jason Sudeikis, and a little less Ted Lasso.
Sure.
Like, obviously, I don't cut positivity like very hard.
Funny you should mention Ted Lasso because I'm wearing my Ted Lasso jersey tonight.
Oh man, it's impressive. You're all about like the people's champion of soccer teams over there.
Yeah. I mean, those are some good answers for Troy. That's who I would cast. Jason, are you sticking with Seth Rogen for yourself?
Why not? Like, okay. When I grew out my hair, when I had some, it was like right after when we were filming Crazy About You, and it was right after 40-Year-Old Virgin came out, and everybody was like, Jason, you look like that dude on there. And so, like, I could totally see Seth Rogen, the similarities and why people would say Seth Rogen. So,
in 2009, long before Sons of Anarchy came out, I picked Charlie Hunnam specifically for Undeclared and Green Street Hooligans. I even put in my comments that I wasn't sure if he could do an American accent because I hadn't seen him doing it, because like Nicholas Nickleby was one of his only other movies he had at that point. So all the stuff he'd done up to that point was British, or even his American production, he was playing a British character. All of a sudden, Sons of Anarchy comes out and he can obviously do an American accent without a problem at all. So I'm not changing my answer. I'm nowhere near as cut as he ever has, or I don't look like him in any way, but that's who I would want to play me if they were making a fictionalized version of me.
It's cracking me up because like your beard has always been inspired by him ever since that show came out, essentially.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm sticking with my Charlie Hunnam answer. All right,
if you're just gonna pick Charlie Hunnam, like, yeah, Tom Hardy's playing me then.
Awesome.
Like, that's fine. Like, cool, man. Like, I'm walking in and I'm just like, be like, what's up, guys?
All right. Well, so I'm scared to ask this question, but if you were casting a movie of my life, Troy, who are you casting as me? Michael Cera?
Oh man, dude, you wish Michael Cera is fucking like balling out on you, dog. Fucking like you have no idea how much I love Michael Cera. Like, nah, man, I don't know. Like, fuck, dude. Like, see, like the thing is, like, I don't get so much. Like, I look at you, and there's not really like a Hollywood celebrity that's like can match that or whatever. But like, I don't know, like Drake.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Like somebody who's like, he's cool, but like he's way more confident than he like should be for what he's actually like bringing to the table. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
I love Drake. Don't get me wrong. Like I love the songs, but like I will never love Drake as much as Drake loves Drake. You know what I mean? Like, and so you need somebody to bring that type of energy to like your guy.
Okay.
And I'm just not sure.
I appreciate your thoughtful answer into this.
I'm not sure who that person is, like in an actor sense. You know what I mean?
Okay. I'll take that.
Let me marinate on that, and I'll bring you like the next time you have me on.
I look forward to this.
I will bring you something.
I mean, I feel like the next time I have you on, I need you to cast the Castleton Arts movie with people that are actors. I love
playing like who would play who in a movie. Like let's cast all the shit. Like let's go.
One of our future episodes, I promise you, we're gonna do the Castleton Arts movie, and you're gonna cast it for me.
Like if you ever want to do like, hey, let's recast Star Wars with rappers, like I'm gonna fucking dominate that game. Like nobody you will ever have as a guest will beat me at that game.
Whoa! But Billy D. Williams has to stay. Like that's the only caveat. Like
no, man, because he's the Childish Gambino. Duh, he already has a rapper that took his place. Like,
all right. Oh, we got 3 questions to go. If you could remake one movie, Troy, what was your answer?
I never would do that.
So I gotta preface this. These last 3 questions are finish the sentence. I'm gonna give the first part of the sentence, and then we're gonna give our answers to it. So Troy's was, if you could remake one movie, I would never do that. And your logic behind that answer.
Fuck, man. If you don't have anything original to say, get off the mic.
I like that.
Like seriously, like I don't need to see The Karate Kid with Jaden Smith. I don't need to see fucking Avengers Part 12. I don't need to see any of this shit. Like you didn't do that.
Sure. Well, and I feel like that's one of the things I do love about Christopher Nolan is, for the most part, aside from his Batman trilogy, he makes real and original, and M. Night Shyamalan as well.
Like I'm not a Christopher Nolan guy. Like whatever. Right. I think it's all like just pyrotechnics and kind of like, you know, mental gymnastics. Okay. But like, and I think he kind of like tends to make the same movie over and over again, but it is at least his movie. Sure. I will give you that. Like, at least if I know Christopher Nolan's not going to be like, here's the remake of Point Break because we needed to make it gritty. And I'm like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
Like I don't want any of that shit. Like, I don't want sequels. I don't want remakes. I don't want any of it. Like, I don't even really like, I'm not even positive I want you to like remake the books that I read into movies anymore. Like if you're not coming with something like real and original and like true to your vision of the world as it is, like fuck it, I can get it elsewhere. Don't bother.
Very good perspective on that. I can't argue that with the way Hollywood is these days. Jason, your answer?
My answer was, if I could remake one movie, it would be the sequels that have raped my childhood. I could stand by that. Mainly, I want to say this was right after Indy 5 came out, maybe.
I think you're right.
Because
that was Indy 4.
I'm sorry, Indy 4.
Yeah.
Aren't they making a new one of that?
They are making an Indy 5, yeah.
Yeah. They like Indy 4 was definitely that moment of like, why did you do this?
Indy 3
only compounded by the fact of The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
Almost anything that Lucasfilm has touched, especially since the Disney takeover, has not been the best. So
not at all. My answer was Along Came a Spider. It's one of my favorite James Patterson novels. I felt like the movie was complete garbage. They basically didn't follow the book at all. It was Morgan Freeman was fine with the crappy script they gave him. But it was absolutely nothing like the book, and they ruined so many of the things that made me love the book. So like Troy said, like sometimes I just wish they wouldn't have even done it. Like Kiss the Girls was a pretty good adaptation of the book. They changed some things, but not like with Along Came a Spider. They literally added a partner character that gets killed that was never in the book, and then they changed who Alex Cross was, and I've never gotten over it. So if I could remake any movie, I would remake Along Came a Spider and do a much better real adaptation of the good story that was in the book.
If I didn't remake Cool Runnings with Lil Wayne and fucking Lil Jon, Like, there's no fucking remake I'm ever gonna do, and there's no remake that anybody should ever fucking do.
All right. Well, you have two more. You got two more people, and then a white guy. You got a cast. What's the rest of your cast on Cool Runnings?
All right. So Lil Jon is gonna play the Dougie Doug role.
Okay.
Because he's Sanka Coffee, like
Yep.
just personified.
I can see that.
Wheezy is gonna play the rich kid.
Okay.
Because like
All
I know
right.
it's fucked up, but like I just have like this vision in my head. You need somebody a little bit taller for the like buff guy like Bozia Kim.
Uh-huh.
Damn
Cool
man,
Brenna.
like maybe like 50 Cent.
Oh, okay. I'm down for that.
That would be funny.
Hard.
Yeah.
What?
No. Like I love it's kind of weird. Like I love 50 Cent, and you can tell that he has a lot of fun doing what he does. And so it's one of those things to me, like the moment you said that, I'm like, I could totally watch him in a comedy. He'd probably be cutting up the entire time.
Especially
So-
like a comedy where like the first half of the movie is him just like mean mugging dudes and like being like fucking hard on people. Oh hell yeah. And then all right, who's
Darius.
Darius? Who would Darius be? It would have to be like who's really smooth, man.
Who's the dude
like,
that does the Oreo commercials? That's who I want.
like Chance the Rapper?
No. Like he does the Oreo commercial where he's riding on the tricycle in his house with his son. Oh man.
Oh,
Hold on, give me
Well,
just
who's
a
John
second.
Candy then?
Well, who? What? Oh yeah, who's the John Candy role?
oh man. Like Action Bronson, probably.
Who?
He's a fat white
Wiz
rapper.
Khalifa. Wiz Khalifa. Can Wiz Khalifa be
would
Darius?
great. He's
Yeah.
fucking charismatic as fuck. Yeah, no,
Yes.
I would go with that. He's not my favorite rapper, but yeah, cool. Yeah.
Wiz Khalifa is Darius.
Yeah. I feel like Wiz could drive that bitch to a gold
Right.
medal.
So who did you say for John Candy?
Action Bronson. He's
Who is that?
He's a fat white rapper.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with him.
No, Action Bronson does the show on Vice, where he goes around and just eats like super expensive food.
Oh, okay.
While stoned. Not to be confused with Most Expensivest, which is also on Vice, which is just 2 Chainz going around and like checking out like $1 trillion yachts and like $18,000 Fabergé eggs and shit.
So I have to ask, are you being paid by Vice right now to promote them?
I mean, I should be. Shit. Y'all want to hear about the dark side of wrestling? That's a great show too.
We'll save that for another episode. We have another sentence to finish that says, I never want to watch a movie with. Troy. This one breaks my heart, to be honest.
I'm sure I said something really snarky. Fuck, I don't know.
Angelina Jolie or Spider-Man.
Fuck Angelina Jolie, 100%.
Angelina Jolie is so beautiful. Spider-Man, but I don't know which Spider-Man you mean. Do you mean literally any Spider-Man?
Yeah,
or
any
do you
of them.
mean you didn't? No.
And Spider-Man was probably a catch-all for like all of them.
Okay, so like you hate
They're all
Tobey
fucking
Maguire
Spider-Man
and
to me.
Andrew Garfield and
I think he just means all superheroes.
Yeah.
I
don't-
see.
Like, you know what I like? I like
Not
movies,
superheroes.
I like movies where like Hugh Grant is shooting like laser beams out of his heart. And I hate movies where like Robert Downey Jr. is shooting laser beams out of his dick. Like, give me like people movies over like, you know,
Sure.
like, I'm sorry, man. Like, you lose me when you start flying around and shit.
Understandable.
I've never been like under attack from a supervillain, but like I have had my heart broken. I can relate to that.
Yeah. Jason, you went a little different with this statement. I never want to watch a movie with.
People who aren't there for the experience. And I just meant like, I don't want to be in an auditorium with people who like, it's tough, Troy, watching movies with Shane sometimes. Although I will say that the most of the time that he does it, it's a movie that sucks, so it's okay. But like his phone going off and him just like lighting up the 2 rows around him while he's like while we're QCing a movie. And all of a sudden,
I would assume he was just taking notes on the Christopher Nolan movie.
I might not hate him. I might not hate him if he was doing that in the while we
He
were
was just
watching.
like hitting the Google Notes, and he was just like, "Oh, in Act 1,
Yeah, no,
like
that's
time
right.
lapse 13 happens," and
I just, the amount of people that pay to go watch movies and then are like sitting on their phones or talking and being obnoxious. It's like,
yeah, like they don't want to be, like they want to be anywhere but there.
like,
Nah, dude.
why'd you pay $7 to $18 nowadays to go in and sit your ass in a seat in a dark theater with people you don't know just so you could be obnoxious? Like
100. Like, okay. Is every important movie that you've ever seen in your life, like what percentage of those happened in an actual movie theater? 90, 95?
Yeah.
I'd probably go lower than that because there were a lot of movies in my childhood that I did not watch in a movie theater. Like there's some that I did, but like Friday night movie night, like getting to rent videos, like that was a big part of
Blockbuster was fire. Yeah.
No, yeah, that was a big part of what, like, because I caught a lot of movies that I didn't make the time to go see in a theater. I watched them at home, like
it's probably 75 or 80% though for me.
I'd probably go 75-ish, probably also.
But then what's even worse now, because Shane and I have been so spoiled for 20 something years, is literally like the amount of times I've actually watched a movie with the public.
Oh yeah.
I've become a manager is like, dude, I probably maybe 5% of the movies that I see nowadays are maybe with the public. Most of the time it's me QCing doing the quality checks to make sure everything's okay.
In the last 10 years, I probably haven't watched more than 10 movies in public, like with people. Like I just, if I don't watch it like with Jason or by myself or something like in a theater, like I probably won't watch it till I watch it at home. Like there's a lot of movies that I still to this day have missed out on.
Some movies you just got to see with the people.
Oh,
like y'all ever watching Glorious Bastards?
Oh, yep.
Saw it at home on video.
Nothing will ever beat sitting in a fucking crowded theater the weekend that movie opened when they fucking barge in and shoot Hitler. Like literally people were fucking high-fiving up in this motherfucker. Like literally like their team had just like won the fucking game on a last second shot. People were just like, yeah, like chest bumps, like people were going absolutely insane.
I love the movie going experience. I've been spoiled. I should do it more often that I go see movies with the public, but I definitely, because like one of the things that I know you don't care for him, Troy, but during Avengers Endgame when Cap picks up Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, I got so excited when I watched it with the QC, but then like I'm not kidding you, so many times during opening weekend I knew what time frame it was. I'd end up going into the theater just to hear everybody react to it and hear like the claps and the hoots and the hollers and everything. And it takes you back to like, my 3 favorite experiences of all time. Number 1 is Scream 2 opening weekend at Eastgate, midnight showing, sold out auditorium, fantastic. East side of Indy, so good to watch that movie with that big of a crowd. Second one, Friday the 13th, part 2 or part 3 in 3D
at Castleton
Arts.
Yeah. Yep.
Like sold out auditorium, us just cutting up and laughing at everything. And then the other one's Jurassic Park, same auditorium as Friday the 13th, part 3. Before it was Castleton Arts was the first time I ever saw Jurassic Park. And hearing the people react to like the Tyrannosaurus Rex coming out and like they had turned up the bass so much that the ceiling tiles were vibrating and like dust was coming off.
Oh yeah. I saw it at Castle Arts too. Yeah, no, that was like, it was the loudest experience I'd ever had.
Oh yeah. Dude. But then on top of that, like when I saw Dark Knight, I saw it opening weekend, sold out auditorium. It was probably 400 people, 500 people in the auditorium I saw it in. And dude, like when Jim Gordon gets killed, like it was dead silent. Like it was, I mean, like everybody was in the same like awe and like shock. And it was just, there's so many great moments when you watch it with an actual audience compared to being just in your home. But we get robbed of that doing the QCs, but I also don't have to listen to people's phones going off or people annoying.
Just mine.
Yeah, just yours.
And just me. I have one similar experience related similar to your Scream 2 comment. Like I've told the story on the podcast before about in '96 when I went and snuck into Scream at Clearwater, and just opening weekend experience of being in a theater watching Scream with people who had never seen it before, like all of us like getting the twists at the end, and like there were some of the people that were the like behind you type people or whatever that was scream things out from time to time, but getting to watch Scream with a crowd on opening weekend was pretty awesome when I was younger. Not so sure I would really care anymore. We went to the Scream 4 premiere and it did not feel the same way.
Well, yeah, but it was also Scream 4, right? Like, and we saw it on a Thursday night at midnight, not on opening weekend.
It's true.
Yeah.
So my answer to I never want to watch a movie with the name Uwe Boll attached to it.
You're so screwed.
I still stand by that.
Okay.
I don't ever want to watch another movie with his name on it. And luckily, Germany has changed their filmmaking laws to prevent him from making movies anymore. So
I did not know that, but you can't even like 50-50 anymore then.
50-50, what?
Dude, he's a special thanks on the movie 50-50.
Okay, he didn't.
His name is attached.
Okay, he's his name. Oh, okay, you got me. You got
Sorry,
me.
man,
Okay,
you got lawyered.
I did. Wow, well played. Guess I don't like 50-50 anymore.
Welcome.
All right, the last question, the last sentence to finish is the perfect movie is Troy.
Probably a pop song.
Do you remember what your answer was?
Do you remember what it was in 2009?
Limitless.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Do you actually mean the movie Limitless? Was that out at that point, or do you?
No,
just mean,
no. I hope not. Like,
okay.
No.
I thought it was that answer. I thought you literally were doing that over Bradley Cooper, man. Like I.
Oh man, I mean, he is dreamy, but
yes, he is.
No, fucking no, like okay, like the best movies never actually fucking end.
Okay.
And what I mean by this is like take a movie like Dazed and Confused, right? What was the first day of school like for the freshmen coming back that year?
Okay.
That's a fun ass mental exercise.
Sure.
And that character just gets to live on forever, man. Because because it's just a thing, man. That's a movie that like you care about beyond the limits of the 90 minutes or the hour and 20 minutes that you spend with it. You're a big Inception guy.
Yep.
The top just keeps on spinning.
Yep.
Which means that like that shit stretches out into like infinity. Like Leonardo DiCaprio is still caught in somebody's dream somewhere. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't agree.
Or does it wobble a little bit right before it cuts to black?
It wobbles right before it cuts. So in my opinion, that means it's real life when he's doing that one.
Well, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing on top of that. Michael Caine has come out and said any scene he's in the movie is in the real world. So
I don't care what Michael Caine has to say. Fuck Michael Caine.
I can't hardly wait. It's totally that movie for me. Like I would love to see a movie of where they are now.
Yeah.
Special K's probably some like Wall Street douchebag who has tons of money and just like is just totally ashamed of the fact that he tried to appropriate culture while he was in high school.
Breckenmeyer works at a coffee shop. And he's just the guy that everybody kind of likes.
It freaking what was it? Who's the drummer?
The dude from Scrubs.
Alfonso or not Alfonso?
Why
Donald Faison?
Donald Faison, yes.
Yeah, Donald Faison. It's like he's probably just the character from Scrubs. Like
so my question about that, does cancel culture come back and hit Kenny?
Oh, I mean, like if that movie no, I don't think it would. Not today. Because you still got the people like Eminem and stuff that can get it, and Machine Gun Kelly, and who's the tattooed dude?
Pete Davidson.
No, the
Post Malone.
Yeah.
Oh,
Post Malone, yeah.
So
Post Malone would make an excellent John Candy in Cool Runnings. Like just throwing that out there. Like, dude, Cool Rappings would maybe be like the greatest movie that you guys have ever seen.
Oh, I absolutely love that idea.
Like I'm trademarking that right now. Like Hollywood, when you fucking try and do that in 2 years, you're coming back and paying me a shit ton of money. Like,
all right, Jason L. Mayer, your sentence is the perfect movie is
one that takes you on a ride of emotions with the characters in the film. Like, I mean, blah. Like, that's a like I like Troy's answer better than I like my answer. I mean,
well,
it's
that
still,
sucks because my answer is literally the exact same thing as what you said. You just said it with more words.
yeah, it's essentially like it's the truth, right? Like that's
Yeah.
what we want in a movie. Like we made the comments earlier about, especially I did, about there's some animated movies that touch you way better than stuff that they do nowadays with
Yep.
live actors. So like, just take me on a ride. Give me like, I want to experience things. I don't want to just sit there and just be blah about your movie. There's a lot of movies, especially, and you know what, I say nowadays, but to be honest, there's tons of movies I've seen that I used to watch way back when that I've tried to watch now, and I'm like, this was crap. Why did I ever watch this thing? Like, why did I ever have an emotional connection to this? And it was more like, oh, because Sylvester Stallone was in it, and you used to like watching Sylvester Stallone movies or something. Like,
Fair.
but yeah, man, like just give me connection, because that's the whole reason you read books or watch movies or listen to music, is you want to feel something, you want to connect, and that's what you need. But it's kind of a blah answer.
Well, I mean, again, I don't necessarily think it's that blah, because like I said, my answer to it is the perfect movie is emotion invoking, which essentially just means exactly what you said. Like, I want to feel an emotional attachment and connection to a character. I don't have to connect to all of them, but when I sit down and watch a movie, I want to pick one character who is saying things that I relate to or acting in a way that I relate to. Like, I love The Way Back because every time I watch it, I connect with Sam Rockwell. Like, I really enjoy how he acts and just his dry sense of humor, and like he's a very childish character who just runs his mouth and tries to get away with saying whatever he can. And I feel like I kind of do that in life as well. So when I watch The Way Back, I really connect and enjoy watching Sam Rockwell's character in that movie.
Have you ever seen that?
mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, put it on your list of things to watch. Like, not too many things I'd feel like you'd actually probably enjoy, but that one's solid.
Is it on Netflix or some shit?
I'll have to look up if it's on anything. I'm not sure. But it's usually like on sale for $5 quite often on some of the digital places. So it's Sam Rockwell running a water park, and the main character is a kid. It's a coming of age story about him coming out of his shell, and he's got a crappy family life, so he finds solace just going and helping out at this water park. And Sam Rockwell's top notch in anything he does. Actually, Sam Rockwell should probably be my answer to my favorite actor working today, because every movie I've seen Sam Rockwell in the last 20 years has been phenomenal. He's the next Gary Oldman. So thank you for, 12, 13 years ago, putting this blog up so that we could all answer these questions back then and then talk about it all these years later. What Jason and I have decided to do is, in a shorter version of this, every time we have a guest star on the show, we're going to ask them these 17 questions and kind of like do our own Inside the Actors Studio thing to wrap up every episode from now on. And we're going to use these questions. So I thank you, and I thank Josh Horowitz for giving us these questions. I'm looking forward to, some of our other guys that are on here kind of regularly. It won't be a discussion like tonight. We'll literally just have them answer the questions, but I'm excited to see the answers that some of our friends come up with and whatnot. So to wrap up this episode, first off, Troy,
at the end of it though, like ask them what rappers they would have remake Cool Runnings, because I want to hear the answers on these.
Cool rappings.
Cool rappings.
It's like, yeah, question 18, Cool Rappings. Who's in it?
Cast it.
Cast it.
First of all, thank you so much for your time tonight, man. Really appreciate you having on here and catching up on all this stuff. But before we wrap up and end it, I want to give you the platform to discuss. At the beginning, you talked about how film doesn't really hit you the same way that it did in the past. You have any closing statements about that, and like why you fell out of love with modern film?
Because modern film fell out of love with me.
Okay.
it's funny, they make more shit these days than like anybody could ever watch, but like finding things that actually like hit your particular sweet spot is like harder than ever. um I've never been interested in explosions.
Okay.
I've never been interested in superheroes. I've never been interested in magic. I've never been interested in fucking elves and demons and all that shit. The only thing I'm really interested in is like what happens when like I'm here, you're there, and some obstacle gets put in between us. What does that do to you? What does that do to me? How does that impact the object that is in between us? Like what happens? Like, and I feel like they just don't really make movies like that anymore. It's hard to find something that like finds like its truth in like simplicity. Um and frankly, like I just don't have the time to go searching out for it like I used to.
Makes sense.
And I guess kind of what I've realized over the years is like I always use like film and film studies and basically like anything like as like kind of like a greater conduit to like understanding myself. I know you guys know like when I worked at Castle and Arts, like we would have the review table.
Yep.
And I was the only person that would ever put out like my college papers out there, like for movies that I had reviewed. And all those papers aren't about like necessarily the movies in question, because I don't need to talk about a movie. You made it. Like the story's there. It's all there. But what does that movie do to me? What does that movie tell me about myself? And the thing is, I found that over time, like other art forms, other experiences, other things, you know, whether it's like pop songs or like the hottest rappers or just running like 10 miles, all those things tell me more about me than movies can right now.
Okay.
And until things flip and movies aren't all about like making $700 million on the first weekend or finding like the streaming platform that really hits, or like, you know, like until like movies find a way to bring it back to the people in a similar way that like mixtape culture brought like Jay-Z back to the people, you know, like I'm just not here for it.
Understandable.
You know, you couple that with the fact that like I might just be a person who's interested in the history of things more than I'm interested in the things that have that history.
Okay.
With film, I was always more interested in like the like movements in film, the like minutia, like this thing led to this thing, that led to this thing. And like I just don't see like those lines anymore, if that makes sense. Like I look at something like I look at like the 12 movies that play at like the Megaplex now, you know, in times when those are open and they're actually showing 12 movies, and like I can't draw any lines between that and like 70s American cinema or like the French New Wave or like, you know, the new German cinema, or like even like there's no Frank Capra anymore. Like there's nothing. It's like it's almost like film has completely abandoned its own past in search of like this other like pre-existing intellectual property like bonanza. And while that may be great, you know, they may be servicing some people, the truth is like I've always kind of been like, man, if I wanted to read comic books, you know what I would do? I'd read fucking comic books. If I wanted to read Harry Potter, I would have read it. I don't need 7 fucking Harry Potter movies. you know what I need? I need another Blue Velvet. I need like something that's actually going to like make me understand somebody else's truth, like an idiosyncratic truth of the way things are in the world. And I just don't find that there are that many filmmakers out there that do that anymore.
I can't argue with anything that you've said. I think you've hit a lot of Hollywood's problems on the head. It is much more about money than it is about storytelling now.
Yeah. Meanwhile, like, you know, my favorite rapper can cut a fucking track tomorrow that can make me understand a world that like I would never be privy to otherwise. And that's kind of like the whole deal, the immediacy of it all. Like, and maybe that's like a film problem. Maybe films just can't get to the people quick enough.
Maybe.
And so we're constantly stuck in this like, well, I can't actually say the things that are important today. So my goal needs to be like making commerce. And I'm really just not interested in fucking t-shirt movies. Like I don't want to wear the t-shirt of the movie that I like. I want to like hold that movie in my heart. And they just don't make movies for people like me anymore. I firmly believe that. I firmly believe that people that are looking for things beyond the latest and greatest in CGI had just got left behind by the industry.
That is a very passionate look at the way Hollywood is now, and I don't think you're wrong about it at all.
And I mean, like, the thing is, like, obviously their model is successful. Like, they're making money hand over fist. They're servicing people. And if that's, you know, like, so I find that, like, I don't complain about it very much because, like, I can just find the things that I want elsewhere.
Sure.
You know, like, I read books. I can fucking listen to music. I can find the things that I used to find in film in a million different places. And maybe that's maturity. And I've just like expanded the perimeter of my life to include different things. Or maybe it's just the fact that they just don't make films for me anymore. And maybe it's a mixture of both. But either way, it's kind of led me to this place where like, I find very little inspiration in like what's new.
Very understandable.
So
well, thank you again. Thank you again for your time tonight, so that we can have you back in a future episode and we can talk about the things that you used to love, and then we'll recast some other movies.
I'm better at talking about like the big picture philosophical idea of cinema than I am talking about like actual like details of current cinema.
We'll eventually at some episode down the road, we'll literally just have an episode called Troy's Thought Process, and we'll just have you on here and you can just go wherever you want to go.
Doug, I don't think like you have like a 16-hour podcast in you. Like if I knew my own thought process, I wouldn't be looking for like books, movies, films, sports to explain me to me. Like, you know? So fuck it. Thank you for letting me sit on the therapy couch. Thank you for letting me get
always a pleasure having you on here. I know we talked about that May is our Marvelous May month where we're doing a lot of comic book movies, so probably won't see you for the next couple of weeks, but definitely down the road we would love to have you back on. You are so much fun to talk about film with.
Anytime. I appreciate it. I hope I did the Jason Richardson seat proud tonight.
You definitely did the Jason Richardson seat proud.
Shout out to my fellow Marvel hater, Jason Richardson. And, maybe we'll start a podcast where we can just talk about like
not Marvel.
We can talk about awesome. we could just argue about who's better between Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston for like 17 straight hours.
To Mariah right here. I'm on your back for that.
Oh, dog, no, I got a Whitney Houston shirt in my. There's no wrong answer. Like that's a question that literally will take 17 hours to answer, and we still will be fighting. So it doesn't matter.
Awesome. Jason, thank you for being a part of this tonight also. And next week should be the if I remember right. Oh no, we have one more week before we start Marvelous May. Next episode 39 is going to be television shows of 1999. We'll look at stuff like Friends and see what season they were in and what story arcs they were doing, and the other Nielsen popular shows from 1999. We'll just kind of talk about them and go from there. So this has been episode 38. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much, Troy. We'll talk to you guys later.